Hello, welcome everyone to Spiritism at Noon. Every week we have our studies on the book A Full Life, written by the Spirit Joanna de Angelis through the medium Divaldo Franco. And I always like to remind everyone that each chapter brings a different subject. So if you're just tuning in today, you will be able to follow our reflections, our study, and you are always welcome to send your questions to us. So the chapter that we have today talks about, Joana de Angeli talks about the future. So let's see what she's going to be telling us about the future. In Jesus' apotheotic message to the sojourners in the flesh, he made sure that he spoke about the future that awaited them all. His entire doctrine is based on the perspective of immortality and the innumerable resources of the inevitable future. He taught that the transient body lasts for a short time, however long a person may sometimes live, and however great the resources for prolonging physical existence may become. Everything and everyone inescapably march towards the future. The infinity of the universe demonstrates that there is no alternative. As his word gained popularity, those who heard it and took it upon themselves to disseminate it adapted to worldly interests that always precede renunciation and solidarity. Ignoring or being deluded by the activities of the flesh, individuals seek to conclude that the master thought, made of mercy and compassion, is meant only to make the physical body pleasing and colorful, in opposition to the law of progress, which establishes all existential periods. Childhood, youth, adulthood, and old age are a part of everyone's journey without exception. Nevertheless, the veil of material forgetfulness, a blessing for the evolution of the spirit, enables the being to concentrate only on the facts concerning the physical body. The same happens when these interests overlap and the future seems to be on the horizon. So, with this message, Joana de Angelis, she's inviting us to reflect upon our existences. Why do we exist? Where do we come from? To where we are going? Is this all that is? And she starts by mentioning Jesus' teachings to everyone that was, living at his time, to everyone that he would communicate, that they're always stating that there was a future or that there is a future. Of course, especially at that time, how could we understand future? And even today, how can we understand future? Because mostly we are very much attached to what is happening now, to our physical lives, to our material lives, which is not wrong. There is a purpose for us to be here, incarnate, reincarnate, to live in a physical world, to have a material body. But the thing is, in spiritual terms, we always have to be reminded that there is much more to us than just that. Because, as she mentioned here, we have a journey. We start being born in childhood, in young age, as adults, elderly age, and then there is a cycle. And even when it says here, she says that, um, because of the resources, Oh, our physical body may last longer, but it's still there is an expiration date. Okay, of course, we know that during the ancient times, Middle Age, average time a person lifespan a person would live would be around 30, 40, 50 years old. Today we know it's 89 years old, and we have already a lot of 100 years old, right? So we are finding ways of living with a little less stress, more comfort, um, nourishing ourselves better, taking, having a better health system that actually helps us in prolonging and making our existence in the physical body better. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to come to an end. But what does this end means? And this is what she's saying, and that she's showing in terms of Jesus' teachings. There is no end. There is an end for a shelter, right? The physical body, but not for the spirit. And when we think about that, it's very important for us to reason, to think about that in the sense that if I know that my existence does not um, finishes with my physical body, I have to invest in my spirit. You know how, here on earth we are going to invest in monetary terms, to say, oh, I'm going to have a comfortable elderly life, okay? Because we have to be careful about, our resources and all of that. So now I know, okay, I have to think about the physical needs according to my physical age, but my spirit doesn't end. And what kind of investment do I have to make in terms of the spirit, right? Any comments, Sonia? Yeah.
It's very interesting the way she's supposed to us the idea, because the main idea of spiritism is there is the about immortality of our soul, and this is our the main idea. We we keep going in all these studies and understand it's a it's a it's because we really believe about this. In another way, she mentioned about our physical body and call our attention how important is this instrument, this body as an instrument for us, make us able to realize this progress of our soul. This is, it's not because when we start to study all the main idea of spiritism and all Jesus lessons, and we always pay attention about to improve ourself, our soul. And sometimes we neglect how important is our physical body to continue this improvement.
Mhm.
Oh, eat well, exercise, and every detail the medicine nowadays give to us the possibilities to prolong our age, our physical body age, right here. Then it's very interesting.
It's very important what you said, Sonia, because uh, I mentioned about investing, right? So how can I invest in my spirit? And investing in the spirit means what you said. The longer I can be here on earth incarnate and productive and having the opportunity, let's say, to amass more good deeds, more experiences, the better it's going to be for my spirit. So this is really very interesting and very important what you're saying, in the sense that us taking care of our physical bodies means a great deal for us to have the opportunity of accomplishing more for ourselves. I've been reading and doing some translations of in terms of the Allan Kardec, and there was a time where he was kind of not paying that much attention to his physical health, and a spirit came and told him, "Listen, you have to rest. Because otherwise you're going to be leaving your physical body sooner than necessary than it was anticipated." So all the cares, I'm not trying here to justify, oh, okay, I have to rest because Allan Kardec had to rest. No, what I'm saying is in terms of us really paying attention and taking care, and understanding that uh, our presence on earth is very, very, very important for ourselves, with everything that we can accomplish for ourselves. And sometimes, and this is why I think spiritism is so important for the lives of people, because when you do not have this understand, like she's talking here about, the future, there is a future. Life never ends. We will return to the spirit world. We are going to be having other incarnations. Sometimes, when you reach a certain age, we see that there is in many cases, the elderly is going to dismay and say, I already did what I had to do. There's nothing, no more importance or position for me. And we tend to think that we can just be discarded, and what we learn here is not that. If we are here, it's because we are still learning. Maybe even in those times where you feel that you cannot contribute that much, we have to learn to be humble, because and learn to have more acceptance that we have limitations. There is a lot of learning of good things that we need in terms of its spiritual qualities, that depending on the situation we are living, we can't learn or not. Okay, so let me read a little more and then we keep on commenting. In the life of the being that goes from childhood or adulthood, a moment arises when the opposite happens, with the onset of decline and subsequent death. The mechanism of preparation for the abandonment of illusions is then activated, replacing fantasy with the reality of the evolutionary process. One should not be surprised by the being's physical decline, the loss of lucidity of mental faculties, the indifference towards possessions and goods to which it clings to in a sickly way, and which often disturb the spirit of the existential process. Unaccustomed to reflect on the teaching of the Lord, of which they have only a superficial knowledge, individuals expect that their bodies will miraculously survive the degenerating mechanisms that are inherent to them. Thus, reflect careful on your physical journey, analyzing the events you have experienced as they are the subliminal warning of what is to come in the future. Live your life conscious that you are building your future, which is in turn waiting for your decisions. Do not think that you are the object of special protections or that you have merits that guarantee a different and pleasurable experience. So, one of the things that we were commenting, right? First of all, this realization that there is a physical decay. As much as it can be hard for us to understand that, to accept that, and it comes in waves. So all of a sudden your eyes don't see that well, you're not hearing that probably that much, and you keep on forgetting the names of your friends and things like that, and then it's a pain here, a pain there, uh, everything related to the physical aspect. That is the consequence of what a life in the physical body represents. Many times we go to the exaggeration of uh, trying to beat time, but there is no possibility. Even if we could go to all the plastic surgeries in the world and look like you're 20 again, your appearance may be that of a 20-year old person, but your inner organs, etc., your brain, it's not. Like we said, there are many things if you live a very disciplined life with, like you mentioned, Sonia, exercising, eating well, drinking plenty of water, all those things that we know that are very advantageous for our health. We can prolong this state of well-being and avoid um, illnesses or aggravations that if we had take a little bit more of care of ourselves, we wouldn't need to go through. Okay, so this is one thing. But like she says here, again, we uh, knowing all that, it becomes an invitation for us to think, and what happens after? Is there an after? Is there a future? And how this future is going to be? So, if we opt to go after knowledge and understanding about us as immortal spirit and realizing that there is a continuation, then we have to change a little bit our paradigm and our choices, because like we said before, we are going to be investing not only in our physical health, in maintaining ourselves physically well, but mostly in maintaining and guaranteeing that, spiritually speaking, we are going to feel well, right? And the feel well, it doesn't need to be just after death. The feel well means today, how much do we suffer because we want something or not, something that we lack or that we feel that we lack, and that is the all the attention that we have goes to that. And then I'm feeling horrible, I'm feeling miserable because I have this idealization that if my life was like this, my opportunities were like that, I would be happy. And sometimes we really take for granted what we have and all our situations. So the present state of well-being, spiritually speaking, in terms of the even mental health, depends very much on us also understanding the purpose of it all, right? And sometimes we have this idea that because we know a little already, or we're not as bad, or according to us, as many other people that we know or we hear about, oh, God is going to protect me. There is protection for everyone. and protection in the sense of marriage. And sometimes, like the spirits tell us, maybe you're meriting now, but what about everything that you did in the past? You still have to balance your account, right? So let us not think that because we have already a certain enlightenment in relation to our spiritual nature, to future, to our, uh, you know, aim in living in a material world, that it means that we will have a special treatment. Having said that, yes, if we keep our minds vibrating, sending energy in terms of optimism, in terms of goodness, in terms of, uh, you know, uh, goodness, we will be connecting with the same wavelength of spirits. And it may even seem that we are being receiving special treatment. But everyone can assess that this is not a special treatment. This is me having the opportunity of using my remote control to change channels. And I'm going to change my channel to attune with a certain wavelength of spirits. So it is not a special treatment. This is merited. This is us placing ourselves in this position. So it's not to say, oh, he or she is very blessed, always good things happen. No, because perhaps this person is always attuning with good energy. Okay, comments, questions?
Yeah, sometimes it's how we live the challenge in our life. Yesterday I was in the subway and a woman beside me was in the phone, and of course I heard what she said, and she said, "Oh, Jane is still living the loss she had in the child, with no mom, with no father. I had no mom and no father, but now I'm living my life now with husband, my son, and now grandson. I'm always thinking the better way because I raised that challenge there. Was in the past. Then I think, and then she turned off and she looked at me. Am I right? Totally, totally right. Yes. Then it's interesting because two different person living the same situation, but nowadays they opt to change that bad situation in the past and living with a good energy they have right now. Because she mentioned she has granddaughter and not change anything, small things like this. And then call my attention about this, how I choose to live every challenge situation in my life with lamentation and oh how poor I am to live this, or okay, I I have enough energy to solve that situation. Then this two different person live in the same situation. One can say, "Oh, God bless me because I changed that bad situation," and another one He's still there crying and
This is very important, Sonia, because I was actually talking about it yesterday. Um, it is very hard for us to detach from our past. And when I say past, I'm saying this life, okay? Because I mean,
yeah,
dealing with the things of this
yeah,
life is already hard enough. Imagine if we have to bring, but we know that we bring that in who we are and how we feel. Even the explained, unexplained emotions that sometimes we have that people will say, how can you feel like that? I mean, or like in this example, two people that comes from the same way of being raised at same family, and we react different. But it's not just because of the past other lives, but it's the past today. You know, I each time more, every time I can, I'll tell people the following: forget about your past. Okay, don't keep on beating yourself up because of the things you did in the past. You are not your past anymore. There are things that we did 20, 30 years ago, for some of us even longer, that of course we don't like, we regret. Knowing what we know today, we would be doing differently, but I cannot stay there. I cannot, myself, be labeling me today with what I was in the past, because otherwise we do not advance. And we will always find mental, psychological, traumatic experiences to blame on those experiences. And it's not like that. But I mean, if I keep revisiting and saying to myself, I don't deserve this because in the past I did this or that, it's not going to happen. You're the first one going against you. You know, we learn from our experience. What we have to be sure is that, you know, I can face it. I can face this demons, these evils that I did. I know they were wrong. I really hope I will not do that anymore in any of my incarnations, but now you stay behind. And now I'm here to rebuild my life. So and then we were talking even about the situation in terms of, you know, past life regression therapy, you know, and saying, oh, if you find out that your uncle did something to you that hurt you, he was bad or whatever. And I said, you know, it's not going to fix you now. And if this person that did something bad to you come to you as a close relative, it is because you have together to overcome the emotions that should no longer be there. And so, you know, it's very important for us, like here, and here is everything about this lesson is the future, is the future. Okay. There is no advantage in us thinking, wow, oh, look what I done. What if I had done this different? It's over. It's over. Just go and move forward. Okay, I see, I understand. It was bad. Now I'm a different person. Now I'm working to become a different person. I'm working to become better. And really, there is no one, at least that I know of, that can say, oh, I can't cast the first stone. Not even the 10th stone, even less the first. Okay? So no one can cast the first stone, right? Andrea, go ahead.
Is there a pill we can take?
Yes, right. That would be great. I think
I would love that pill because and then I just forget about everything and just look forward. Oh my God.
I think the pill. I mean, since we are looking for a pill, meaning a way. I think the way is this one. Is every time your mind takes you to there, you refuse. You say no, no. Look at me today. Look who I am today. Okay, because I mean, if you are going to look in the previous life, oh my God, we were assassins, we were inquisitors, we were burning people at stake, we were burned at stake as well. I mean, everything. We don't want it to go there. It was so easy. You were bothering me. I feel that you are some kind of adversary. I just go there and end your life, and that's the end. Now we know this is not a reality. We know that this is not being a human being. But even in terms when what I'm trying to say is when emotions come to you, that you will say, I don't know from where these emotions are coming. Why am I so insecure? I'm an independent woman. I accomplished this and that. Okay, there may be things in the past and maybe things in the present that it's so hard for us to get to know ourselves. We keep on discovering ourselves. But I think, and this is one thing that I'm doing for myself, you know, no, I'm not going to go there. I have to look at today, my intentions, like Kardec says in the Gospel according to Spiritism, the good Spiritist is the one that makes the effort to overcome its negative tendencies. You see, makes the effort to overcome. And so this is what we're doing here.
It's
And
a battle within our own mind.
yes, so when the 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 thought, uh, you know, our mind, it plays a lot of tricks with us. It's sometimes very, very, the ego, the battle between the ego and the self is a very hard battle. We have this tendency at getting very easily frustrated. With little things. I'm going to bake a cake. I'm completely, unable to do that. Or look how horrible it came. Or this is special food that I wanted to do. Or, uh, we are always so easily criticizing ourselves. And we are looking at the glass half empty. But when you look at yourselves and really and think, my God, let me look at myself today. I have to be proud of what I have accomplished, knowing especially everything that you have to overcome to be who you are today. You see, so I think this is the pill. This is the secret. It's refuse no mind, spirits, obsessors, whoever it is. I refuse. Look at me. I'm great. And I know that I have room for improvement. And my doors are open toward those improvements, okay? But and this is, my best
Let's
version.
take the door down. Let's just leave it open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Move the doors. I don't even have doors, right?
Yes.
But the thing is, we have that. And sometimes another thing that gets in the way is that we want to jump from zero to 10. Usually this does not happen. You have to be content with one. Then you think about 2, then you think about 3, then you think about 4. Everything is better than 0, but for many of us, unless I do the perfect thing, I'm not going to do anything, or I'm going to be staying there. And there is, and this is the lesson, there is the future. We have opportunities. We don't have to achieve everything now. I mean, like a childhood doesn't happen in 1 year. I mean, you only become a teenager when you are 13, right? So from 0 to 12 is childhood. And you don't go to 12 in 1 year or 2 months. And so I think those are the two things that get in the way. One thing is still thinking about ourselves, or lamenting or feeling guilt because of the misdeeds we commit. Uh, and the other thing is this one. Okay, but now I want everything, and it's not like that. It's a process. Both it requires a process, but I think we can be very proactive in controlling our mind, in the sense, I'm not going to go there, I'm not going to allow myself to think like that of myself. And for others to label you. I mean, sometimes you meet friends that you had in high school or before that we say, remember when you used, I don't know, to drink until you got that drunk. I mean, I'm not there. Yeah, you did the same thing. I'm not there anymore. I'm not 14, 15, 18. I'm not there anymore. And you cannot think that in the same way that you have evolved, that I did not evolve. And if people think whatever, they can think whatever they want, but you have to be sure that you are evolving. Uh, my sounds, Andrea.
And yeah, and we have to also be careful with the line between self-assurance and arrogance, right? Because we can go to, it's like you said, we have to accept the one and then the two, right? And so we have to battle about not letting the past hurt you, but also not be too self-assured that you think you can conquer the world, right? So
Yes.
yeah, it's a balance.
Uh, Actually, I would like to keep on talking about that. Just reading one last uh, phrase here, and then we can continue the following week. The future is happening at every moment. What you saw in the past as the future has already come and gone. You see, I'm even going, because I think I mean, this is a very important subject for us to think about. Why the future is happening at every moment? Because at every moment I'm shaping my future. And again, sometimes um, when we are talking about those subjects, we are talking about ourselves. Why do I want to worry about the future? Because it's about you. It's about you feeling happy. It's about you feeling peace. And the sum up of all of us is going to make the world better. But it is an individual battle. It's not being selfish here. It's not thinking about the big picture. It's thinking, okay, I want to contribute for the big picture. There is just one way. It's working on my small picture, right? I have to work on my small picture. How can I contribute for a better world? Doing my part. And I think all the time there is we are living times that there is a lot of negativity around. Uh, there is so much contradiction that even sometimes to say what is right and what is wrong becomes difficult for us because people uh, allies intelligence and research with their way of presenting things that I mean you can be convinced that something that is very wrong is right. So we have to be very careful with processing the information. It's like Kardec says about spiritism is reason. We cannot have blind faith in anything. It's not just about religion, it's about the philosophy of life, it's about our work, it's about our values. I mean, why this is good? I feel good. Uh, when I do something good to others, I have to analyze my emotions. When I do something bad, when I speak bad of others, sometimes we say, "Oh, listen, I can see the poison coming down your mouth, right?" And it's amazing because sometimes you say something, negative about someone, and if you pay attention, there is a
Bitterness, yeah.
bitterness and a bitter taste in your mouth, right? I mean, your physical body responds to that. Uh, and our purpose here is progress. So, in a way, when I look at my past, or when we look at our past and see the many silliness and, bad deeds, whatever that we have committed, we should say, oh my God, I am progressing. I mean, this is what we have to do, not to feel ashamed. Oh, how horrible I was. No, you were. You were is not what you are. And I think especially uh, for the youth, for you, Sonia, with your children, adult children already, and they have to listen to hear that. Because they are in that phase, in that age, in that transition where they are now responsible adults, but they still very close of the silliness that they perhaps have done in their lives, and I still in this transition, right? And I, I really think and this is how when Joanna comes here and talks about the future and saying it's happening now and the past it's gone, and I have to just go ahead and learn. Go, Sonia.
If you're not able to forgive yourself, how can you forgive others?
Others.
And because in the process of forgiving yourself, you can understand your mistake. You can realize I'm not this person anymore, and I'm ready for the next step.
Mm-hmm.
The same way when the others make mistake, we can do the same steps. Understand why and forgive and then let it go. I understand when we keep in our mind this kind of feelings, it's more difficult.
Mhm.
But as you mentioned, no, stop. It's not me anymore. Then
And you see, it's about knowing to forgive yourself, knowing to take responsibility for your share, for your acts, because sometimes we are with more people in the silliness. We are not alone. But, and then many times we can just blame the other. But we have to understand our share in that participation as well, and then to forgive the other, because in the same way that you were immature or irresponsible in a way of doing some things that you should have known better, you know, um, others are the same. And it's this thing. Sometimes we want others to be better than ourselves, and I mean, it's their responsibility. It's their problem. It's not ours. And I think this is one thing as well that we have to think about. It's everything about love and forgiveness, and thinking, okay, and like Kardec it says, states so explicitly, is making the effort to overcome our bad inclinations.
Yeah.
And sometimes you make the effort and you cannot, but then you cannot say, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do that. You are. It may take time, but you are going to do that, as you have already made so many other things. Andrea, you are going to say
No,
something?
I was just saying,
Yeah.
I was thinking, that lecture that we watched the other day with the lady talking about the lives in other planets,
Uh-huh.
and how here, we are expiation and all that.
Yeah.
And she was talking about that, how we can improve here so we can vibrate differently, so we can even see the other plants. Because right now, even our bodies is not ready for that. So imagine it's all comes from the mind, right? So the mind is the one that needs to improve so our bodies can improve so we can. I mean, it's a process. It's so beautiful, right? I wish that we could see how small we are in a bigger process. And if we do our part, there's so much more coming that is just wonderful, right?
Yeah, sometimes a visit to the planetarium is a good one, because
Yes.
at least in terms of, even if you're still in that phase of thinking, oh, we are the only
Oh
life
my God. How can you?
in
Yeah.
the whole universe. I mean, just by looking at the size of planet Earth and in relation to the known universe, because there is the part that we don't even see and know yet,
Uh-huh.
it makes you not necessarily
Humble.
humble. Exactly.
Hmm.
It's not feel small, but it's humble.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think it gives a sense of belonging, because versus being alone, because we have this image that we are alone in the universe. We are not. And there is all those vibrations of the worlds around us. There is coming to us as well, or that we can connect, like we were saying before, right? That
Hmm.
there is no depending on how we vibrate, or my energy, I'm going
Yeah.
to attune with those kind of energies as well.
Yeah.
We can do that. We can reach there. And it's not because we are getting more benefits than other human beings. It's just because, I'm getting advantage of my possibilities, and you're not. Right? It's my choice, and my choice is to connect with that. Your choice may be to connect with something different.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And
By the way, I did some research. I couldn't find anything with her on that subject in Portuguese because I just wanted to share with some friends there because I thought it was so amazing that
Uh,
that whole lesson. It was just
uh,
amazing. Anyway, yeah.
yeah, yes, yes, yes. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that, for today, we have a lot of food for thought.
Yes.
And like I told you, I'm in the same boat. I'm, the same thing every time because life happens, as you know, and every time that I feel that I'm getting pessimist or feeling like, things are not getting that much my way, or I start feeling a certain dismay, or even thinking, oh, maybe I already did what I have to do. I totally erase that from me and say no. Uh, there is room for improvement, and I've been doing that, and I know, and there is no one that will can come and say you're not worthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. For starters, I'm a child of God. Just for that, I'm worthy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so interesting you say that because remember, I worked in human resources, so we can see people's self-review, and it is so amazing how people put them down all the time. Like if you would go, it's very rarely that you have an employee who scores themselves higher than the manager.
Mm.
They always score themselves lower.
Uh-huh.
So I think that this is a human trait. We always thinking, like you said, we are fighting with ourselves to all the things that we think we are bad instead of, but even if you're 80% bad, I remember I attended a talk once, and I can't remember what it was, but someone said even Hitler loved something, so God is present everywhere, like everywhere. It's just a matter of us looking. And I think it's gotta be a human characteristic to put us down, or at least in this level where we are, right? So the majority of the people where we are focused on the negative. So that battle inside.
Yeah.
Let's make that pill. Okay?
Interesting you saying that.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Um, uh,